me use a very, very simple example that every Kenyan can understand. When in 1992, the late former President Moi stood one day and introduced us a young man, and he told us, this is the guy, by then Uhuru Kenyatta,
Yes.
that I feel is best to succeed me. It almost appeared like a joke. What many, many people never knew is actually Mzee Moi was a destiny helper for our current president.
Correct.
And because of that simple act, today Uhuru is the president. If nobody introduced him to Kenya, he could not have made it this far. So destiny helper is that person who helps you to reach the destiny or that which you are meant to become, one way or another. Many times people think they only come in the positive style. They may even come opposite.
Yes.
And push you there by force. So destiny helper is a person who will help you reach your destiny in simplest terms. Maybe we never said what is your destiny. And that is why it appears like I'm using a vocabulary to explain another vocabulary.
So, very well. If I got you right, it means everyone is assigned to a destiny helper. And it's unfortunate that it seems like some die before meeting them. Because if someone has been doing so good and didn't have a good breakthrough, and unfortunately, eventually they die without, achieving their dreams, it means they did not meet their destiny helper. So is this as a result of what we do as Christians or humans that don't attract these people on time, or what could be the case? Well,
number one, as I hinted just before you asked that question, allow me to very, very briefly talk about what is destiny so that now we can understand when a destiny helper comes in, we can clearly understand what are we talking about.
Yes.
Destiny is that which you are meant to do in life. Destiny is how can you get to your best or your full potential in life. Destiny is not a chance or a fluke thing that will come your way. It is a decision made out of understanding and conscious awareness that if only I get this and this, I can do this in life. You set a goal, you go for it, you may raise your bar as high as you think you can, and destiny actually comes out of conscious decision of what you want to become in life, what you want to achieve with this life. There is a very closer word that can be interchanged, but it is actually the opposite of destiny, is fate. Now, when you hear somebody met his fate, you see, there's quite a funny relationship between destiny and fate. Fate comes your way when you do not become responsible for your life.
Okay.
And the destroyer, the thief, John 10:10, who comes not but to kill, to steal, and destroy, interrupts your movement in between and knocks you off the rail. And you hear now you have met your fate. But in more often cases than not, you will realize that fate comes in when you fail to become responsible over your own life. Well, it may also come as an attack from the enemy. It is supposed to stop you from getting to your destiny. Now, destiny is that full potential that you can achieve in this life. And in the words of Miles Monroe, the graves are the richest place on earth because there are many engineers that never became engineers.
Yes,
there are many doctors in the graves that never saw a medical school. Their destiny was high there, but somewhere they met their fate and never reached their destiny. So once we realize that our destiny is to show that there is something great God designed us to reach in this life, however short it is or long it is. Actually, it's not about the length of days. Men like Martin Luther King Jr. died at 30. But up to today, he is affecting us. He was destined for very great things. Jesus actually died at 33.
Yes.
And he is saving people thousands of years later. So, destiny helper is that conduit, that person God has prepared or has given the burden or has brought you away so that you don't miss the mark. You actually hit the bullseye. And one day look back and say, the rest is history.
Something you've mentioned there, so that you don't miss your mark. I realized that destiny helpers, one way they come, which we're going to be talking about in a few steps, is that some comes in a form of an enemy.
Yeah.
Uncommon enemy rather is what the Bible described them. These are the people that opposes your movement just to challenge you to step up. And not everyone is strong enough spiritually to stand up to these kinds of setback, and that is why probably we miss, our destiny helpers, or the breakthrough to our destiny. And now, how is someone supposed to hold your faith when an uncommon enemy comes through to challenge your destiny?
Thank you. There is a very powerful example in the Bible. In 1 Samuel chapter number 11. You see in chapter number 10, Saul is made king of Israel. But as you come to the end of chapter number 10, there are some people in Israel that were called the sons of Beriari. They refused, they did not accept Saul. They actually said, is this guy going to become our leader? They despised him and even never gave him gifts. So what happens next? Saul goes back to his former commitment of taking care of his father's animals. But an enemy comes against one of the villages in Israel called Jabesh Gilead. And the name of the enemy was Nahash the Amorite. He comes and camps there and declares there's no compromise, there's no agreement between me and you. I must first of all, bow one of your eyes and make it a shame for the rest of the whole country. And this report reaches to Saul, and he wakes up like a man and heals his own oxen and declares that if any man is not going to stand with Samuel and I, this is what will be done to his oxen. And Israel stands like one man in unity against the enemy. And by the time they overcame Nahash, the enemy, the Bible says everybody now accepted Saul as the king. And from there, actually, he was anointed the king and he took over the reignage. Now, it took an enemy to wake him up and to wake up the children of Israel to realize this is your king. It took an enemy by the name Goliath to make David become a king.
Exactly.
If you ignore your Goliath, you will not see your kingdom. Because it is the enemy that helps you shine best. Somebody said that good times don't make a character.
And what do you say?
When we are enjoying good times in life, sometimes we are operating at our lowest denominator. If there is something like in mathematics that was called lowest common denominator.
Yes.
But wait until we are put to our challenges.
That's when we know our strengths.
We were stretched. That is when we even know our elastic limit. That we can go further before we break. And eventually the character that comes out of you is one strong character that the world could never have known. So sometimes, and thank you for putting it forward, you realize that some uncommon enemy becomes your destiny helper.
Correct.
One of them is poverty. Some people, until they face the pangs of poverty, they will not wake up to fight to become what they were meant to do. And that one becomes another problem, whereby if you look at some cycles that take place on earth, some children that were brought up from very, very poor background becomes very aggressive and make it in life. Their children are born on a silver platter. And they become, some of them, not all of them, they end up becoming very responsible, until even when the parents have left them with a lot of property, they cannot take care of it. They squander it. And the cycle goes and goes and goes and comes. And that is why the cry of many, many rich people today is that if only I had sons and daughters who can understand my vision. Why? The enemy that brought you where you are, you have kept him very far from your children, thinking you are helping them, only to realize that you helped to destroy them by stopping the enemy who would have woken them up. It's called a wake-up call.
And of course, maybe if I just can add to that, you've talked about poverty being one of the uncommon enemy to our destiny. Of course, through that is also something called the lack of employment. You've seen people that went to school to study, have the degree seated with them in the house for a very long time, but due to that challenge, they became creative. And some are CEOs right now. So I can see how lack of something can also literally connect you to what you really meant to do. Thank you very much for putting that through.
Actually, they said necessity is the mother of innovations. So sometimes, however much it is very good to nurture our children with a lot of love, it is also important that we let them also understand that we are what we are, not because everything was done our way, but because we had to face quite a number of necessities. In my generation, and I'm not a very old man, we never got toys. We made our own toys.
Yes.
And that was the sweetest part of it. Some of them would make a very good design, but out of the long materials. Before you finish the race, it is over with you. But you also learn something.
True.
So it is good, my generation, to learn that these, our children, however much things have changed, they also need to know that there is some negative forces that help us to become who we are meant to become.
Well.
Let's not overshield them. Let us not overbabies them. Kamami, Kadadi generation, until the Kamami, Kadadi becomes really dependent on the parent until when he is a full-grown man.
Correct.
Thank you.
And now once we move forward so that people can discover, or rather notice them immediately when this book comes through, can you help us highlight some of the uncommon destiny helpers that might have come our way and we let them pass because they don't look like what we thought they would be?
Uncommon. You have limited my...
Or you can just say common.
No, even uncommon is okay.
Destiny helpers, literally.
Even uncommon is quite a good one because the common ones, most of the people know.
Yes.
But it's good also to highlight a number. The first one is the divine connectors.
Okay.
Divine connectors is actually the missing link between who you are today and who you're meant to be. And sometimes you may even know who you're meant to become, but the route to that destination becomes very vague, that you don't really know how you can get there. Yet there are people you meet in life, and all of a sudden, they happen to be the direct link or linkage to where you want to become. Those people are very, very important. They make it very easy for you. Well, sometimes people will try to make it on their own using some of their attributes. But it becomes very difficult and sometimes completely impossible until you meet a destiny connector. And actually, one of the wonderful examples is that if Jesus needed to be introduced to us, he was, yes, and he shall be the Son of God. Of course, that's a theological. Yet, during his baptism, a voice came from heaven and said, "This is my beloved Son, of whom I am well pleased." And it went ahead to say, "Hear ye him." And an example of a dove comes and sits on him, you know, and it's like the entire Trinity was there to support him to be what he is meant to become. If Jesus needed an introducer or an introduction,
how much more
about us, I and you, some of us whose that name may not have any meaning. We need to get somewhere with each and get our destiny connector who will usher us into the area we need to become and become that missing link, and we reach there. Another one, because time may not allow us to go very deep on all of them, but I know our viewers are good people who can be, with a good hint, they will go very deep in these things to discover them. The next one is actually the gatekeepers. Maybe the gatekeeper of your village, the gatekeeper of your nation. Now, these people, they have what you need to become who you require to become. A gatekeeper is that businessman who has the merchandise that you require to start your business. The moment he likes you, the miracle happens. I know of a guy who actually worked with a fellow, a businessman at one time in Nairobi. And the moment that guy came this way to Meru, and that businessman was now importing motorcycles, he came visiting this young man, and he told him, just look for a premises. And just like a joke, after getting a premises in this town, that guy came and gave him an opening stock of 3 million worth of goods. And the agreement was, whatever you sell, pay my portion. So this is a gatekeeper who has what this man needed. And the moment you connect well with him, you may not even need money.
Yes.
Actually, there is something we call non-financial resources. Many people think they must have a lot of money to open big business. But there is something called non-financial resources, whereby you have that capability to make money even if you don't have the capital. A gatekeeper is a great non-financial resource because he can fund you if he realizes your gift, your faithfulness, your aggressivity or aggressiveness, commitment and other positive attributes are going to help him achieve his goals. And in the process, he pushes you to your destiny. We have seen about divine connectors. We have seen about gatekeepers. We have the gifted. Now, when David was entertaining Saul during the attacks, and the demon that was disturbing Saul would come out of him, David was purely using his gifts. The gifted are the people that have talent, skills, gifts, and other professional know-how of the area you are interested in. And when you work with these people, they help you understand the nitty-gritties of your profession.
Correct.
So that by the time you enter, you are not entering an ordinary person or an ordinary level, you are entering with skills. Because talents are inborn.
Correct.
But skills are built. Talents are raw materials. But skills are the goods. Now, raw materials can be sold very cheaply, especially when they are not being value added. So, however talented we are born, we need to make our talents come to skillfulness. There are good people that are wonderful musicians. They have a voice. But because they have not sat down to be trained, to be skilled, they never become a skilled musician. But there's a big difference between a talented and a skilled person. A skill is much higher.
Okay.
And especially if it is added on a talent. A talent is not worked on. Low material.
It's natural.
In its natural form. With no learning. So, gifted people help you, like in the area of music whereby we have just mentioned. A gifted person will hear what you're not hearing and what the world is not hearing, and will help you to release what the world is craving for. And I've said before in this program, people don't make money because of opening businesses. They make money because of solving people's problems.
Correct.
So, we have also the mentors.
Now, before we go to the mentors, there's something I'd like you to clarify, because I've been following you closely. First of all, you talked about the divine connectors. So these are people who introduces you to the to your destiny, okay? And now you talked about gatekeepers. These are people who have what you are looking for to get your destiny. So right there, I wouldn't be okay if I let this pass by. So people need to know that there is someone who introduces you to your destiny, but doesn't have what it takes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a difference.
To take you to your destiny. All they need to do is to introduce you, so that the person that has what it takes to connect you to your destiny can see you from their introduction.
Wow, let me sound slightly almost political. When the former President Moi introduced Uhuru to us, he was actually introducing him to his destiny. But he didn't have the votes to make him the president.
Correct.
There are men in this nation who are actually the gatekeepers. The moment he likes you, the whole community will come your way. They are called kingmakers in politics.
Yes.
I am not going politics, but if you allow me to tell you this, for instance, Baba is a very good gatekeeper. If he says, actually he said, Kibaki tosha, and it became the game changer. He heard what Kibaki was looking for. Now, we are not actually discussing politics here.
Not.
But we are giving clear examples.
Correct.
The moment the gatekeeper likes you and declares, this is a good man, that statement alone is enough to take you to your destiny.
Call it a game changer.
He may be the owner of the media house. And all through your training, your dream from childhood, like our wonderful man, naitwa Mambo Botela. He used to tell us that even from primary school you would make a gazette look like a funnel. You would start announcing news from his childhood. Now, the moment the media house owner identifies the young man and realizes this can be a very good news anchor, the media house owner has what you need to bring you to your destiny.
Of course.
That one is a gatekeeper. I've used an example in politics, I've used an example in the media. I've used an example in business. Now, surely.
it's much relatable now. And, you know, also something I would like us to let people know before we talk about the next step now is that especially at the beginning, which are the destiny connectors, mostly, in most cases, I realize they don't look like what we would want to associate with.
True.
So which means probability a lot of people have overlooked their destiny connectors without knowing.
Very, very true.
So it's about now humanity and knowing how to treat everyone equally, because you just don't know. You might be entertaining an angel.
Yeah, or you must be losing your chances big time. Sometimes looks deceive so much.
Looks is the word I've been looking for. People think until you look this type, that is the person that can help me before you, because you associate with this kind of people. But should it be clear that anyone, God can use anyone as a destiny connector?
Very, 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 very much true. A very, very good example maybe in the Bible is the case of Moses and Jethro.
Yes.
Now, Jethro is actually an idol worshipper and a priest among the idol worshippers. And here Moses is a man of God. And God uses a priest of an idol to guide Moses into his destiny. And it was so precise that the first thing he did when Moses became a fugitive, he landed into the hands of Jethro. Not by choice, not by chance. It was the only chance he had. He didn't have even another chance. The next thing Jethro does is that he gives Moses a wife from one of his daughters. And you look at it like it's like he was just desperately helping a desperate young man who may not have another chance to do other things. Wait until when Moses now is in the wilderness with the children of Israel to realize that Jethro had much more than just accommodation and a wife for Moses. He actually now trains Moses on one principle that even today the learners or the civilization of today has heavily borrowed, the principle of delegation. Moses didn't know anything about delegation. He thought the only way I can have it done is if I do it myself. And many people today, including some of us, we still have this problem. We think it is only done right if I did it myself. Only to realize that you are so limited, you can only do very little. But the moment you delegate to others, they will do it for you much faster, better, and even quicker. And even when you are gone, it will still be happening because you left others. That principle Moses was taught and actually trained by Jethro. So you may disguise somebody, maybe because of other reasons, even religion and creed. You may be working under an Indian today, and God is actually using him to push you to your destiny. Yesterday I was sharing with a certain person, and after sharing something with her, she exclaimed and said, you know what, now I understand why I had to spend all these months working in that place that she almost thought was a horrible situation. But God was preparing her for her destiny. You may never know how it comes.
Now let's move forward. We have very few minutes, I think 6 or so. Lastly, we talked about the gifted ones.
Yes.
And let's move forward.
I was talking, I remember after gifted ones, I did talk about mentors. Mentors are people that work with you to make you become what you should become. They are ahead of you. They have the skill you are looking for. They have the opportunities you are looking for. But above all, they don't want just to give you the opportunity. They want to share part of their life with you so that you know what they have and take it forward. For instance, Moses, the Bible says, God actually showed the people the works of God. But to Moses, he taught him the ways. Now there's a very big difference the moment you see the mightiest works, but you do not know how were they done. A mentor now does not only show you the works, he comes deeper and show you how to achieve them. Moses knew how God works, but the people were seeing the works. You will not be able to do those works when you do not know the hows. So the mentors now answers the questions of not what, but how.
How was it done?
Yeah. And you realize that in this generation, what many people are missing is actually the hows. They know what they want, but how it is becoming a challenge.
Correct.
So we all need mentors. They know the hows. Then we have others like the uncommon friend. We talked of the uncommon enemy. A uncommon friend is like the case of David and
Goliath?
David and who?
Goliath, you said?
No. The son of Saul. What was his name?
You're the pastor, please take me through.
There is this guy in the Bible who was meant to become the king after Saul, but he liked David. He loved David like his own soul.
Okay.
Until when the father wanted to harm David, he would come and tell him, this is what the father is planning. You don't still remember the name? That is a Bible quiz for the day.
Okay.
Of course, my viewers know who I'm talking about.
But you can tell us if you remember. My SMS line is down on your TV screen.
He was uncommon friend. Is it Jonathan?
Okay.
Is it Jonathan? Or what was his name?
Yeah, you've mentioned Jonathan, so I believe he was.
He was such an uncommon friend that he was ready and willing to let go what would have been rightfully his. For this man who now he realizes is a better person. And for sure, David became a better king. Maybe Jonathan would have just become another man who works for 2-3 years, then he goes the way of hurting the will of God. But David tried until we have Jesus coming from the lineage of David. So, when you have such a common friend who values you much more than himself, he would have become the king, but he says, no, I think I don't have what this guy has.
He could do better.
I will support him. Let me serve him the rest of my life. It is enough that I serve him. Actually, he even lost his own life for David to succeed. So sometimes God will bring you away very, very uncommon friends. People that will willingly give you even their own opportunities for you to reach your destiny. John the Baptist was a prophet. Actually, Jesus says he was the greatest of all the prophets. But he came to a point he was saying, I must diminish as he is increasing. I am not the one. I only came to prepare the way. So some will come to prepare the way for you to reach your destiny. And of course, there are quite a few others. There are others that are called ladders, people that you use their back to reach your destiny.
Ladders holders.
Yeah. They hold for you. Sometimes literally, you step on them.
To gain your balance.
To get your, not even your balance. What you need is so high, let's say it's 10 feet from the ground. So you step on his shoulders to see what you need. And they are very happy that you stepped on them to reach your destiny. And all these are people that God will always bring your way. But now the question comes, do you realize that some of the people that you have actually even been not very careful were people meant to take you to your destiny? The story of Naaman and the girl, the maid in his house. Imagine this was a general, a great man of his land. He was not only a general, he had won many wars that the Bible records. Because of him, his nation had won many, many wars. But he was a rapper. In the public, he's a great achiever. In the private, he was actually a disaster, a leper.
21 minutes past 6 o'clock in the evening. Maybe if I may just grab some messages as we conclude, or rather as we wind up. Yes. Someone is saying, hello, Jebasi. Hello, too. Say hi to Pastor Ngaari. Greetings to Pastor Ngaari from Doreen. Okay, so Doreen was a former house girl to Pastor Ngaari.
Wow.
You inspire, or you're inspiring a lot, Daddy.
I know that girl. I know that girl. And she's doing very well. I thank God for her. Actually, she's in a good profession today. She's not serving anybody. She's working in a good profession. Thank you.
You perhaps were a destiny connector?
You never know.
Very well. And obviously, hello, Jebasi. I'm loving the show. Say hi to Pastor Ngaari. Very inspiring topic. They thank you, guys. And some or the rest of them are just song requests. And thank you very much, Pastor Ngaari, for coming through. It's always a good time to, to share with you. And I think my director, as we prepare to work, someone here is requesting for El Shaddai by Heart Divine. This has been coming through so fast and many times. So please make sure that comes through as we walk away now. That's all the time we had today and for this week, but we're hoping that you keep locked with Destiny Television because much more is coming your way after this. There's Barry's Destiny and Pastor Ngaari will be preaching afterwards, so you have much more blessings to achieve. Now, Pastor Ngaari, whom would you like to say hi to as we take a walk? And your final words?
Wow, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let me say hi to my family members. Of course, if they don't give me peace, I may not do this. And of course, all our viewers, we love you so much. The other day I met a young man on the street and he told me, oh, I never miss that program of Be Inspired that you are. Wow, God bless you wherever you are, whoever you are. We are here because of you. And without you, we cannot make it. So after the news, we are doing, last week we did something about prayers or levels of prayers. Today, I will give another extra tip on the enemies or barriers of prayer. Don't miss.
Don't miss.
God bless you.
God bless you. Now, of course, big thanks to you and our proud sponsors, MIPS College of Business Studies. And of course, another, shout out to my director. This man is doing such a great job, but unfortunately, don't get to see him. He goes by the name Kevin Degwa. He's the one who took us through today. And we're saying good night.
God bless you.
Get Inspired is proudly sponsored by MIPS College of Business Studies. MIPS College, turning job seekers to CEOs. For more information, call 0720 967249.